Are you like us? Tired of all the politically correct horseshit on podcasts and in the media? Need a podcast that's funny, smart, and gassy? It's not politically correct. It's just correct. This is the Carolina Underground. Throw that middle finger in the air. Raise them up. Because it's time to get loud, proud, and in your face. Generation X. Generation X. The best generation of all time meets the grit of the South. It's about everything and nothing at all. From current events to woolly boogers to movies to politics. Loud, brash, funny, and never, and I do mean never, predictable. The Carolina Underground with Mark and Mike.
Yo, 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 yo. It's the Carolina Underground, and we're coming to you again. Just like bad pennies, we've turned right the heck back up. Coming to you live from the replica Batcave with my partner in high crimes and misdemeanors, hidden somewhere deep in the dark, murky depths that is Bigfoot ridden of Sparkleberry.
Well, interestingly, I think I heard something about Sasquatch the other day. I'm not sure
You
where it
did,
was.
and that is on the radar for today's episode.
Oh, all right.
See how I just slipped that right in there? That's called being slick as goose crap, baby.
Foreshadowing. So go
Hey.
get it. Is this out down in Anderson?
Well, no, this was actually in Newberry County. I think it said it was about 25 or 26 miles north of Columbia.
No kidding. Skunk apes.
Yeah, they evidently, and this has been actually according to the Bigfoot Research Organization, Matt, I can't even read my handwriting on his name, Moneymaker. Matt, how could I miss Moneymaker? Matt Moneymaker says one of the more credible reports that they've had recently. It's evidently there was a policeman that was deer hunting in Newberry County, South Carolina, and he reported seeing a 7 foot to 7.5 foot brown figure in the brush with an ape-like face and really long arms. And the witness wrote he was in a ground blind. He heard a loud, deep, gruttle grunt and stamp all at the same time. And when he turned around, that's when he saw the Sasquatch that he described. And they said that this is where he was at would be a prime location that they would expect Bigfoots to be at because it's in a run where power lines are, and there used to be a train track in there that it's known now as the Palmetto Trail hike and bike route.
Mm-hmm.
So
What they're saying is that Bigfoot likes to hike and bike.
Well, no, yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's got his Pilates in and doing his Peloton.
Yeah. I'm okay with that,
Well, they say that there's a lot of deer out there, and they have noticed that when there are large deer herds, there tend to be more Bigfoot sightings in areas that have large deer populations.
And just out of curiosity, who are they?
This is coming from the Bigfoot Research Organization.
The Bigfoot Research Organization. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Oh, excuse me, Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization.
Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization. I wonder if
these were the people that were involved in the movie Finding Bigfoot.
Right.
And they did that that was on Animal Planet, I think.
Okay.
But they go ahead.
No, but they didn't actually find him.
No,
right?
They're still looking, but they're saying that usually the Bigfoot sightings tend to be in places where that have large deer populations because I guess they're making the inference that Bigfoots eat the deer.
Well, I would assume so.
But if they're apes, you would think they would be herbivores because I thought most apes ate fruit and vegetation.
Well, I think they're omnivores more than anything else. They just even deer will eat an occasional bird if they can catch it and stuff like that. I mean,
Hey, I'll eat it too as long as it's extra crispy from the kernels.
I understand. It's absolutely right. So,
And
but yeah.
it's kind of interesting though because a lot of times I was when I was reading that it popped up and there were some other articles it says you may also enjoy
Hmm.
this, and one of the articles that caught my eye was it was talking about the rise of paranormal beliefs in the United States and
Interesting.
with the population,
Hmm.
and being Bigfoot, talking about Bigfoot is actually being part of that because it's kind of a what I guess a pseudoscience
Hmm.
paranormal type thing. But the Chapman University released a study in, I think it was 2018 or 2019. And
Hmm.
these percentages that they have out are based of people that agree and strongly agree.
Hmm.
Okay.
All right.
And this is the breakdown.
All right.
58% believe places can be haunted by spirits.
Okay.
57% believe that there used to be an advanced ancient civilization such as Atlantis.
Okay.
41%, and I think this is out of like 5,900 people that they talked to or brought up during the study to see what was going on.
Okay.
41% believe aliens have visited Earth in the ancient past.
Okay.
35% of them reported they believe that aliens have come to the Earth in modern times.
Okay.
26% believe that some people can move objects with their brains.
All right.
21% believe Bigfoot is a real creature.
Okay.
And 17% believe fortune tellers and psychics can actually see the future.
All
And
righty.
they pointed out that they evidently conduct this same poll ever so often, obviously using different people.
Okay.
But since like 2016, there has been a steady increase of about 2.8 to 2.9% year on year of people that actually now agree that they believe in this, to whereas before they did not.
Well, you know, and that's fine. And my question about the Bigfoot sighting, did they get any evidence of the sighting or did they just hear stuff?
Well, I don't, from what I understand, there is no like hair or footprints or anything like this. They're just, I guess, attesting that this person is a police officer, and they're assuming that he is a credible witness, and therefore going on that this I guess it leads more comparison to it, unless it was me and yours drunk ass out in the woods high on a
Well, yeah,
reefer and
yeah.
eating chocolate covered cream filled donuts.
So no, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the bias in that direction. And I'm okay with there being a Bigfoot. I'm okay with there not being a Bigfoot. I mean, the thing is somehow those critters, if they exist, they are the hide and seek champions. It's like the Loch Ness monster,
Uh huh.
Mesoterus rhombopteryx, they call it. And you know, at this point, that region has been so completely explored.
Hmm.
I don't know how you could even begin to assume that there's anything in
Well,
there. If it would have to be able to come in and out of dimensions, in my opinion. Like,
and it's funny you say that. I just actually read something today
mm,
talking about the area where Loch Ness is an area. I think there are 12 or 15 of them around the earth that have this weird magnetic
hot spots,
hot
vortexes.
spots.
Yeah.
Right. And what they are thinking is that this could manifest in a lot of different ways. and that when people were actually seeing Nessie and describing something that looked like a plesiosaur, it could have actually been a window that it was open, showing something that was back in time or actually in another dimension.
Okay, why not?
Well, I mean, you
You know?
think about it though. I mean, there are, our whole emphasis on this show when we first started was talking about woolly boogers and
Oh
stuff
no,
like that.
absolutely, absolutely. I
And
agree.
there's a lot of stuff that we can't explain,
Oh yeah.
and
Well,
a lot of people want to make money off of that, but there are the people that are like the Anunnaki, or
hmm
what was the place that we were talking about that was older than Stonehenge that was buried?
Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah, Göbekli Tepe,
hmm
and all of that, and then the underground villages in Turkey that they found where thousands of people
Well,
could
and
live underground.
another thing that I heard recently also, I went down and was talking about the Costa Rican stones, right?
Hmm.
Well, there's another place that has some of these stones, and some of them are even larger than the ones down in
Oh
Costa
wow.
Rica. And it is, I want to say it's like Slovenia or someplace like that. Um,
Isn't that an Eastern European country?
in a yeah, Eastern European
Okay.
country. Now, the most interesting thing about it is that they haven't been moved. The ones in Costa Rica, the pineapple plantations and whatnot, they were digging them up, and it's like, hey, we can't plant a pineapple tree here if we have this great big rock. Move it.
Right.
So, but at any rate, the ones in Bulgaria or wherever it is, at any rate, in Europe, they have not been moved, and they
Hmm.
are basically in areas that have high incidences of magnetic flux and stuff like that, like up in the Alaskan Triangle and places like that, with these vortices.
Hmm.
And the any rate, the conversation was that they may be able to, they may have been there to translate or to concentrate and focus, because that's how you make a lens. A lens is essentially a sphere.
Hmm.
It just may be focused by, being made into an ellipse from the sphere. But, spheres concentrate things as well. You can use a sphere to concentrate energy to light a fire,
Hmm.
things like that. So at any rate,
Hmm.
it's just interesting stuff. But I mean, there's so much evidence that there is a civilization that existed prior to the end of the last ice age that we have no written record of. There's
Well, it's
just no
like
record.
we are a people with amnesia because we don't remember it.
Right. So there was something there, and then it was gone for some reason. Now and now again, the Bible tells us, and the book of Enoch tells us that there was a civilization that came from the Garden of Eden and all of that stuff, and then it was wiped out in a massive flood.
Hmm. Well, and then you've got the sands over there in the Middle East where
hmm
those towns were that the stuff is fused that you only get if there was a nuclear war.
Right.
And then
Absolutely.
you have those Indian texts about the Vermana
hmm
that actually talk about them.
Vimanas.
The
The
Ema, yeah,
Vimanas. Yeah.
the Vimanas fighting in the air using nuclear weapons.
Right. Absolutely. Now, so again, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's plenty of evidence that there are, and one of my favorite quotes, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Little William Shakespeare there for you. But now here's one that I saw it, and I thought of you the minute that I saw it. It is currently on Disney Plus.
Okay.
You remember the Stanford prison experiment.
Yes. Vaguely.
Pretty much everybody does. So they're supposed to, the setup was that they took random students and made half of them guards and half of them prisoners, and it just immediately went into anarchy, and the
Mm.
guards became more and more and more brutal, and yada yada yada, and they had breakdowns as fast as within 36 hours, and on and on and on. There is a documentary about that Stanford prison experiment, and
Wow,
the
I'm
doctor that
surprised they
ran it,
actually put that on Disney.
I was surprised as well. And I highly recommend it because it has a perspective that I think everybody needs to have,
Hmm.
or needs to be exposed to, because behavioral psychology and pop psychology and all of that stuff really kind of, it's very easily manipulated, in my opinion. It's very easy to set up an experiment to with implicit bias built into the experiment, so
Well, I
that,
mean, it's like that even in like poll questions.
oh,
Depending on the
absolutely.
questions that lead
Mhm.
up to it,
Yeah.
get you set the stage for the answer that you really want them to give on the actual question you want to answer.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. 100%. So I do not want to rob you of the privilege of watching that series. It's
Okay.
3 45-minute or so episodes. You can knock it out from stem to stern. But I know that you were taught that study and the results of that study when you studied psychology. That was
Yes.
a
Hmm.
cornerstone. That was there, like, what was it?
Was all right up there with Pavlov and his bells.
Absolutely. And what was it? The mouse stuff that they did, the utopian, or
Hmm. Yep.
utopia 40 something like that. I've lost track of that one. I'm gonna have to look it
Well,
up
that
again.
was a lot of alcoholic beverages and a lot of joints ago.
But there's kind of, again, back to that, the one thing that I can share, you can look at this whole thing from multiple different angles
Hmm.
and interpret the results however you wish,
Right.
because there's arguments in every, it's along the same lines as the people that claim that the lunar landings were hoaxes. I mean, some
Or that the
people
earth
believe
is
that,
flat.
or that the earth is flat. Now, again, at the end of the day, it don't matter to me. I'm hanging out here. I'm having a good time. If the earth is flat, great. If the earth is round, great. It's not really ever going to make that big of a difference in my life. So I don't want to waste my time with that argument. Love to know the answer. I believe you can prove it based on trigonometry, but that's just me.
Well, and you don't even have to have trigonometry. If you want to fly to Europe
Hmm.
from New York,
Hmm.
you get on an airplane. The airplane don't go out over the Atlantic. The airplane flies north and goes over the curvature of the Earth, which you can look out the window and see at 35,000 feet.
Yep.
So it's not like a point that it's in. And it's like the question I have is this: if the Earth is flat, I'm kind of like you. It's not that big a deal. But if the Earth is flat, why is it that I could head in one direction and eventually come right back around to the point I started from, to where if it was flat, sooner or later you're going to hit an edge? There has to be an edge somewhere.
Well, my understanding is that they have an answer for that, and I just I've never really wanted to do the research necessary to know the answer, if I'm being completely honest,
Hmm.
because again, it really, I I, I honestly, I know pilots and I am a pilot myself, and I know pilots who are flat earthers, and they say that in spite of the fact that all of the maps in aviation are three dimensional,
Hmm.
and you can see the curvature of the Earth the way that anyway. But it's but yet they say that uh, it's supportable theory even for
Well,
a pilot.
though, then you also have it to where, let's say I'll go out tonight and I take a picture of the moon. Okay.
Right.
I have a friend that lives in Australia.
Mhm.
He takes a picture of the moon.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
The moon is in the same position
Yes.
with the exception that it's flipped.
Hmm.
It's their moon is upside down from what our moon is. If the
Yes.
earth was flat, it would not be upside down.
That is my understanding. Yes. I agree.
It baffles me sometimes that the energy people put into things when it
Well,
has absolutely no bearing on anything whatsoever.
and herein lies the problem, because I know people that have talked about, oh, well, Hillary Clinton was assassinated, and that's actually a clone of her, and there were multiple clones. Now there were, I guarantee, I've seen the pictures that confirm that there were body doubles for Joe Biden. But there's so many things that people put energy into that are completely outlandish, and there's no logical explanation that you can lay out. And then but they also could say the same things about Gobekli Tepe.
Hmm.
They can say it, but there's something there, because a lot of these rocks that we deal with, or that they dealt with, that they put in place, that they drug for miles,
Hmm.
we would have trouble moving them today.
Oh, most
Okay.
definitely. We
So,
can't even cut to the precision that some of those things in South America are put together as.
oh, absolutely. And then yeah, it's just, there's just too much evidence that there was a civilization. It was wiped out catastrophically. And this is, again, that was one of my favorite things about the whole Battlestar Galactica reboot. Was this has all happened before, and it will all happen again. There's a lot to be said for the cyclical nature of the universe.
Hmm.
And they were talking about, one of the things I saw today. They were talking about volcanic eruptions belching
Hmm.
so much dust into the sky that it brought about a ice age. And somebody was telling me that we're actually still technically in an ice age right now.
Well, it's
Uh,
pretty chilly up here right now. I can about attest to that.
well, that one I haven't had the time to check out yet, but I know that in the record um, that they have done the ice cores up in the Arctic Circle and in
Hmm.
Antarctica, that the ice cores indicate that it was 6 degrees hotter at times in the past than it is right now. 6 whole degrees. Now that's going to change the landscape dramatically. But, you know, that's the thing. The earth has always been a rock floating in space at a very high rate of speed. And we are visitors on this rock. And that's about it.
I got a question for you.
I have an answer. I hope it matches.
What state do you think has the most Bigfoot sightings?
I would say Alabama.
Really?
Yes, I would, really.
That's not the answer.
Okay, then. That was my best guess. It just seemed,
Alabama is not even in the top 10.
well, bless my soul.
I'll give you some honorable mentions.
Okay.
North Carolina has 98.
All right.
South Carolina has 52.
Okay.
Georgia has 132.
Gracious.
So number 10 is Missouri with 154.
Huh.
Number 9 is Michigan with 220. Number 8 is the great state of Texas with 246.
Huh.
Number 6 is Oregon with 254. Number 5 is the great state of Illinois with 296.
Really?
Really? And
Huh.
number 4 is the state of Ohio with 302.
That
Number
is
3
intriguing.
is the state of Florida with 328. And Florida is not really a state that I would associate Bigfoot with
Well, no,
for some reason.
that's where I understand. I thought that's where the term Sasquatch came from.
Well, it may have. I don't know.
In the Carolinas, the legend of Boggy Creek is
Yeah,
where they talked about him as the skunk ape.
yeah.
Now,
Well, I
eh,
guess it is.
yeah. So, I mean, again, but I never would have thought about now. And a lot of these places that have the highest numbers of sightings, there's some of the more rural states with lower populations as
Right.
well.
Well, and number 3, as I said, was Florida. Number 2 is California with 445.
Okay.
And number 1 is Washington State with 676.
Interesting. That is
But
actually pretty
there's one
fascinating.
state missing off the top 10 that I would have almost sworn would have been in the top 10 sightings for Bigfoot. It even had a show about hunting Bigfoot up there called something blank monsters.
Okay.
And that is the state of Alaska.
Ah,
Alaska has, and I looked it up, they have 22 Bigfoot sightings.
interesting.
That's what I thought, and I was like, because they that one show, Alaskan Monsters, that's
Mhm.
essentially what they're doing is going around to the Alaskan Triangle that you referred to earlier, and looking for Bigfoot.
Hmm.
But it's kind of interesting though, is a lot of the states to where I would have even thought that the Bigfoot sightings would have been um, situated or concentrated were not even in the ballpark. And if you look at it like in like a heat map kind of
Mhm.
format, it's really bright and shiny up in the Pacific Northwest and then right around the Ohio Valley. And then we on the coast out here kind of peter out to like a blush of yellow.
Hmm.
I just found that kind of interesting, particularly about Alaska not having but 22. And
Well,
I guess I don't know if that confirms the one that just got done in South Carolina. So South Carolina may have 53 now.
but again, the point of the matter is it may be it may be something so simple as their predatory habits. What do they eat? Well, that's exactly what would be the thing. That's where
Right.
creatures tend to congregate is next to whatever they eat.
Right.
So if you're seeing a lot of these in areas that have, I'm assuming it's going to be, the white-tailed deer like we have here in North and South
hmm
Carolina, not those great big monstrous things. Well, no, it may be the monstrous
Well, and
things.
it depends on what it has. And I guess, and from what I have been able to glean from the toe dip into the Bigfoot pool that I have done over this past week, is Bigfoots tend to get larger the further west you go.
Okay.
So toward the Ohio Valley and around in this area, they tend to be between 7 and 8 foot tall.
Mhm.
And as you go further out west, they get into 8.5 and 10 foot tall.
Well, and that's not a big surprise because bears do the same thing. So
Hmm.
that's okay. I can buy into that. Now, and it is entirely possible that there are enough remote places left on in the United States that a large enough breeding population of these things could exist. I,
Well, I'm
I,
sure there's probably areas in some states, particularly the remote ones
right?
and the high mountains and stuff, that
Yeah.
we probably have not ever been to. There's probably been no people other than Native Americans that have ever been there.
Well, and yeah, so I mean, I'm okay with that. I just, it's becoming much less likely. I'll put it that way as far as Bigfoot goes. I, you know, pretty much I would love to believe it. And there's definitely some kind of phenomena that is occurring that we don't have a good explanation for, but I don't know what it is.
And I don't either.
Yep.
I just have to go with it. I would have thought by now there would have been, because there is supposedly that hand that they have in Tibet that's the hand of the abominable snowman or something like that, and that they've
Right.
been trying to get tested, but I don't think they ever have. I was sitting here at the house the other day, and I walk in and I hear this guttural sound and kind of this weird language yapping about. And I see this big brown blob with dreadlocks on the screen, and I thought I was watching The View. And then I realized it was just Jabba the Hutt on The Empire Strikes Back, or The Return of the Jedi. Looked just like Whoopi Goldberg, I'll tell you. I think that's where
Whew.
George Lucas got his uh, inspiration
Inspiration.
for Jabba the Hutt. And it's and you funny we bring up old Whoopi. Let's talk about Whoopi for a minute.
That was the segue of all segues.
Well, I got a problem with Whoopi. She said,
Oh,
and
please
and
do
she
tell.
knows first and foremost, and she knows. She started off by she wanted these cupcakes, these Charlotte Russe
Oh
cupcakes,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Well, and she said that the people didn't make them for
Because of
her
right.
because of her politics.
Yep.
Well, you got a problem with that. And then she comes, well, I didn't say the bakery. I didn't do this. Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out there is one bakery in the
Hmm.
state of New York or the city of New York that still makes these cupcakes.
Hmm.
And it's in Staten Island, and it's also the one Whoopi was referring to.
Oh yeah.
Now that it is a family-owned business, it's in a
Hmm.
building that's 145 years old, or 100, at least 100. The business has been in business for 145 years,
Hmm.
and she's complaining because she is so entitled that she thinks that everything is about her.
Oh yeah.
Well, Whoopi, I don't know. You're probably not going to listen to this, but if hopefully somebody that you knew does, I hope you enjoyed your cupcakes. And for any of them that are left, I hope you shove them straight up your entitled, sanctimonious ass. Yeah.
How do you really feel about it, Mike? I think you're holding back. Is she one of the ones that was supposed to leave the
Oh, I
country
don't
if
know.
Trump
Well,
got elected
none of them are going
president?
to leave. It all sounds good. You're going to leave. Oh, we don't have to
Well,
pay for health care. We don't do this. And then when they tell you, oh, but we also have 50 to 60% income taxes, it don't look so dad blame entertaining or enjoyable at that point.
oh yeah,
And I probably should not say the C
yeah.
word. It offends some people. And
It's
my mama did teach me better. But Whoopi Goldberg ain't been relevant since she was in Jumpin' Jack Flash and was that little black woman in a big silver box as she was being drugged down the streets of New York in a dad blame phone booth. That she has done got my dander up.
I I can tell. My goodness, you
Well,
are
I mean,
absolutely
well,
fired
and
up.
it's not just her; it's that entire show. And
Well, it's not just that show. It's the liberal mentality of or progressive mentality. What is it? Whatever they're labeling themselves as today, that they're just so entitled and everything is about them. And so they're the ones that want a strong federal government so that they can impose their will over more people. And most people just don't want to be
and
underneath
most
another
people
human
don't give a
being's thumb, you
rat's
know?
ass whether you have your Charlotte Russe cupcakes or not.
I would tend to agree.
Yeah, I'm
I
not one
would
of those
not be
people
one of
either.
those
I'm gonna be
people.
honest with you. I wouldn't piss on Whoopi Goldberg if the.
I understand. Yeah, I do indeed.
And now that
Oh,
brings me to my next topic.
jump on it.
And see, I have found the soapboxes, and I'm looking for the multitudes.
Oh yay, oh yay.
Yay! The Pentagon and other news today. The Pentagon has failed its seventh straight audit. It can account for $824 billion in its budget.
Only $824 billion.
Only
Okay.
824 billion.
Mm, mm,
But
mm.
it kind of, I'm sitting there and I scratch my head. And I mean, y'all don't got check registers. When you write a check, you don't write down who it goes to and for how much. I don't understand how you can't account for money that you spent.
Well, it's because they've not been held to account for more than 40 years now. And that's the problem. So, any rate, I am waiting with breathless anticipation for the first 100 days of January 2025.
Why,
I,
you
uh,
gonna get some Charlotte Russe cupcakes?
I probably am not, but I am really
Well,
going to enjoy.
they sound delightful. They're a light sponge with jelly.
Hmm,
We make them a little bit different here. We make them round, so you got to push them up with your thumb, kind of like a push pop, and they got whipped cream with little nuts on top of them with maraschino cherry and whipped cream.
okay,
They sound delightful,
they do
and
absolutely.
I guarantee you, they had to get a bunch of them because that Job of the Hut, she could eat 50 of them by herself.
I would not be surprised
And if
in the
this don't
least.
get us kicked off YouTube, nothing will.
I, I didn't realize that was a goal.
I've been kicked out of better bars than this. I went to
That
the
is it.
University of Florida.
That's it was one of those, one of my favorite quotes was, Groucho Marx when, he made the comment that he would never stoop so low as to be a member of a country club that would have him as a member.
It about makes me want to smoke a joint.
Oh, oh my goodness
And
gracious.
you can't even do that nowadays.
Why is that? I thought it
Well,
was, go ahead. Hit me.
well,
What's going on?
with marijuana cigarettes,
Yes.
well, I guess is the proper term for that cannabis.
I guess. Go ahead. Yes.
Well, from now, since they started legalizing it since 2004, there's this new s- syndrome that's related to regular cannabis use makes you nausea, you have severe abdominal pain, and you compulsively need to take a bath.
And you have a compulsive need
Need to
to take
bathe.
a bath. Oh,
And
so you have a compulsive need to
right, you
bathe.
have a
Okay.
compulsive need to take a bath. It is cannabinoid hyperemesis syndrome, and I probably just killed that. This is your territory because this is scientific shit. But evidently, it was first outlined in 2004 in Australia, And
Uh-huh.
they are estimating that it affects about 2.75 million people in the U.S. each year, and it's rising sharply. But the reason that they say it's rising sharply is because obviously marijuana is more readily available than it used to be, and believe it or not, the versions that we are using now are exponentially more potent than what was used in the past when it was illegal.
So none of this has anything to do with the frequency of showers being taken because of your compulsive need to bathe, right?
Right.
That one is the one that doesn't, I have trouble with out of the whole thing
Well,
because there's a
there's
lot
only
more
one
people
way to test it.
that need to bathe. But
There's
go
only
ahead.
one way to test it. We can just
Hit
start
me.
smoking marijuana all the time and see if we get it. But no, this is legitimately, this is true. This was in National Geographic.
Well, but okay, so this is legit and this is true. I
Hmm.
mean, it's kind of,
I
that is
mean, we
such a
can't make this
hard,
shit up. I mean, you can't
well,
make
okay,
this up.
but it is so hard to get to a point where you can actually believe that anybody is telling you the truth anymore, you know?
Well, and they said that this is for people that not like you and I would be casually lighting up a joint to relax, to forget a fat Jabba the Hutt looking heifer eating all the Charlotte Russe cupcakes. This is people that are smoking it like constantly.
Like, yeah,
Their intake
like a
of
religion.
cannabis, like a religious cannabis smoker,
Hmm.
the intake would have to be dramatic, is what they're saying. And I guess there are people that do that. I guess
So
we
you,
could call Snoop Dogg and see if he has a compulsion to bathe, because he does it a lot.
so yeah, okay, that's kind of the point. So in order to have a bathing compulsion,
Hmm.
you have to do it a lot.
Right, but they're saying it was more than just, it was not just your casual smoker. This is,
No, yeah,
since
no,
it
I
has
got you.
become legal, this is more of the
What I'm
people that are
pointing
doing
out,
it all the time.
what I'm pointing out is, my, what an earthy cologne you're wearing. You know, it's, you,
It's
there's
Charlotte
a,
Russe,
there's
baby.
a, there's a great big chunk of the bell curve of folks that are under that bar.
Well, hey, kind of like that cartoon I sent you. You might get better results if you use the soap instead of the soap box.
There you go. Well, it's entirely possible.
And I only got one
Uh,
other thing that I want to
oh,
talk up that's just been on my nerves.
what, what really grinds my gears?
Damn, brother, I don't believe I told that.
Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Is Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
Oh gosh, yes.
And these people act surprised. And you notice there, if you watched, and I didn't watch the fight. I don't support Netflix because I don't like their political leanings, and I don't
Hmm.
like who they donate money to. So
Right.
I'd refuse to donate money to them because of the multi millions of dollars they gave to Prince Harry and that gold digger he's married to, and the
Hmm.
Obamas. But they had the fight on there. I saw the things, and it, people that actually thought that this was going to be a boxing match, I think, were grossly misled.
Well, how could it be? Okay. Now, I mean, again, well, you know,
Well,
there's a lot of things you
here's
can
the
say
way
about Tyson.
here's the way this was structured.
Okay.
For Mike Tyson to maximize his payday, which would have been
Uh-huh.
$20 million,
Right.
it had to be at least 7 to 8 rounds long.
Wow. Okay.
And I think, yeah, and it's probably kind of a sad testament to boxing
Yeah.
that Mike Tyson, this was his biggest payday, even when he was a champion.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But let's look at this from another perspective. He went there. I honestly think that if if this was a legit boxing contest and there wasn't any shenanigans put on in the contracts, because we all know that Jake Paul's going to do what he's going to do to make the most money, right?
Sure.
And if there were not clauses put in there that would have kept Mike Tyson from doing this,
Hmm.
I was watching the training videos. Mike
Okay.
Tyson was throwing uppercuts just like he used to when he was little, when he was younger, when he won
Hmm.
the heavyweight title.
I understand. Go ahead.
But he didn't throw any in this whole fight. I don't think he
Well,
threw one
so
uppercut.
here's and this kind, well, yeah. I mean, again, the thing is, even though he might be able to throw that same uppercut with something akin to the speed that he had when he was younger, it's
And because,
not
you know,
going to have the
power is the
force.
last thing to leave.
No, it isn't.
That
That's
is.
one of the first
Look at
things to
George
leave.
Foreman. Power
Really?
is the last. Yeah, power, according to most boxers, the power behind the punch is one of the last things older fighters lose.
Really?
Hmm.
Well, that's an interesting
I mean, George
thing.
Foreman won the heavyweight title in his 40s.
Well, but so here's the thing. All right, so it's a lose lose for Paul, no matter what he does. Okay, so if he gets into the ring and he beats the hell out of a guy that is 30 years his senior,
Hmm.
what good does it do him? None.
Well, I don't, and I will say this: at the end, the way Jake Paul respected Mike Tyson, I think it was actually a win-win, because I actually did appreciate the deference that he showed to Mike Tyson. But I
Mm-hmm.
also think that Mike Tyson was just trying to prove to himself at 58 years old he could still go 8 rounds.
And you know what? That's fine. And it's okay with me that it's an exhibition.
Right. Well,
It
it was
really is.
actually a professional fight. It wasn't an exposition.
Well, yeah,
It was
okay.
sanctioned.
Yeah, I get it. But, you know,
But then you've got
okay.
Jake Paul. The next thing he does is now the funny thing is when he fought somebody closer to his size and his age, he
Mhm.
lost.
Ah,
Tommy Fury beat him.
yeah,
But now the
okay.
first thing he does is call out Conor McGregor
Hmm.
and Canelo. So
Okay.
you beat somebody that's a boxer that's 30 years your senior, which I really don't think you outboxed them. A lot of times when you look at it, it looked like Mike wanted what he wanted to do. He was frustrated because his legs just wouldn't go for and do it.
Hmm.
But it was a grift. I mean, essentially what it was a grift. It
Oh,
was,
yeah.
and it also led to bigger questions about Netflix. You know, they can't handle this was constantly buffering and spinning and all
Oh,
this
yeah.
stuff, and they can't handle that. So how are they going to handle the NFL?
I don't even want to speculate, and nor do I care. I kind of gave up on all of that stuff when it became political. I just
Well, I
want
don't. I
nothing
haven't
to do with
watched.
it.
I have never really watched pro football. I still follow my
Mhm.
Gators, but that's about it. But I guess I'll go find me some Charlotte Russe cupcakes
All right.
or something. You know what? Screw them Charlotte Russe cupcakes. I'm gonna have some Paul Roger.
Well, as long as you find something that tickles your fancy, I think you'll be all right.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. There wasn't nothing more to pissed me off more than
Uh-huh.
that 2-ton heifer who says that she is hurting cause rents and stuff are so high,
Right.
and that the woman didn't sell her them cupcakes because of her political views.
Hmm.
Now, odds are these people are in New York, so let's just say they are not MAGAs.
No, yes, the likelihood of that is very thin. Mhm.
And it just got my dander up, and I just thought we needed to say something about it. And if it offended you in using the language, I'm sorry, but you know, sometimes you just got to
Do,
call a duck a duck.
do you think I found any offense with anything that you said? I thought it was hilarious, personally.
Well,
Um,
we
but you
don't,
know,
well, you know what? If it
what?
pissed y'all off, And that is the snout to the curly tail and everything in between. And we gone.
Y'all have a good evening.
All right, you crazy bunch of motherfuckers. Wait, can we say mother? Anyway, you've been listening to the Carolina Underground. It isn't politically correct, it's just correct. Our motto is, if you can't go balls deep, don't go at all. Actually, that's not our motto, and I'm sorry, I don't even know what that meant. All right, we gotta go. We hope you enjoyed the show. And if you didn't, we hope it really pissed you off. Follow us on Twitter at Carolina UNDGRND Underground, get it? Or drop us an email at Carolina UNDGRND, get it? At northstate.net. We want to hear from you. Y'all be cool. See you next time on Carolina Underground.